In today's video, we're going to explain Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? From start to end. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Is first ever animated television series featuring the iconic character Scooby-Doo. This show aired in 1969 under Hanna-Barbera CBS and only ran for, you guessed it, 2 seasons, ending in 1970. It was created by Joe Ruby and Ken Spears. This series follows a group of teenagers and their talking Great Dane. The show follows 4 teenagers: Fred Jones, Daphne Blake, Velma Dinkley, and Norville Shaggy Rogers, and their cowardly but lovable Great Dane Scooby-Doo. The series is known for its mystery-solving format, humor, and iconic catchphrases. They travel around in their van, known as the Mystery Machine, and investigate mysteries involving ghostly or supernatural creatures. The gang is often invited to solve these mysteries due to their reputation for solving similar cases. In each episode, the gang arrives at a new location where strange occurrences are happening. They encounter a creature that appears to be supernatural, such as a ghost, monster, or alien. As they investigate, they uncover clues, examine evidence, and interact with the locals. The gang usually splits up to search for clues, and their investigations lead them to uncover hidden passages, secret rooms, and traps. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on our epic content. So let's jump into Season 1, which consists of 17 episodes, but we will only discuss the most famous and interesting episodes of the show. Episode 1. What a night for a night! The episode begins with a group of 4 teenagers and their talking Great Dane, Scooby-Doo, driving their van, the Mystery Machine, on a dark and stormy night. They end up at a museum where they've been invited to witness the unveiling of a valuable exhibit, the Black Knight, a suit of armor. The Black Knight was transported from an old English castle to the museum for display. The group meets the curator of the museum, Mr. Wickles, who is concerned about the legend of the Black Knight coming to life to protect its treasure.
The Black Knight is supposed to come alive when the moon is full.
However, they dismiss the legend as mere superstition. The gang explores the museum, and while examining the armor, they accidentally activate a mechanism that causes the armor to move and seemingly come to life. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, the cowardly members of the group, run away in fear, leading to some comical moments. The rest of the group decides to investigate and unmask the person behind the haunting of the Black Knight. They encounter a series of spooky occurrences and eventually uncover that Mr. Wickles is behind it all. He's been using the legend of the Black Knight to scare people away so he can steal valuable jewels from the museum. The gang manages to capture Mr. Wickles and expose his scheme. The episode ends with the gang unmasking him, revealing his true identity, and delivering the classic line, "And I would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for you meddling kids." Episode 2. A clue for Scooby-Doo. In this episode, Mystery Incorporated finds themselves in a small fishing village called Winter Haven. They're there to investigate a series of fish-stealing incidents that have been plaguing the local fishermen. The group meets a young man named George, who is one of the fishermen affected by the thefts. As the gang begins their investigation, they discover large webbed footprints near the scene of the thefts, suggesting a connection to some sort of aquatic creature. George believes that the ghost of the local lighthouse keeper, Captain Cutler, who disappeared years ago during a storm, is responsible for the thefts. While investigating the lighthouse, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy encounter a mysterious figure in a diving suit and helmet who seems to be the ghost of Captain Cutler. The gang uncovers a hidden cave beneath the lighthouse, which serves as a secret lair for the disguised figure. They confront the figure and discover that it's actually Mr. Cutler's old diving partner, Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde explains that he and Captain Cutler used to be partners in a smuggling operation, using the legend of the ghost to scare people away while they stole gold. During a storm, Captain Cutler was believed to have drowned, but he had actually been injured and disfigured. He wore a diving suit to survive and continued the thefts. The gang manages to capture Mr. Hyde and reveal his scheme. Episode 3. Hassle in the Castle. Mystery Incorporated finds themselves at a medieval castle named Franken Castle.
Not mistaken, it looks like we're stuck on Haunted Isle.
The gang is called in by the castle's owner, Mr. Shagworthy, who believes that the castle is haunted by the ghost of the Black Knight Sir Blaudalt. The gang begins investigating the castle's ghostly occurrences. As they explore, they encounter various spooky events, including ghostly armor moving on its own and strange sounds echoing through the castle. During their investigation, they meet Velma's uncle, J.P. Van Gogh, a famous horror movie actor. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, as usual, find themselves in the midst of these spooky occurrences, running from various frights and providing comic relief. As the gang delves deeper into the mystery, they discover secret passages within the castle that lead to hidden rooms. Through their investigation, they eventually uncover that the so-called ghostly activities are being orchestrated by a gang of criminals trying to find hidden treasure within the castle. The gang confronts the criminals, and after a series of antics and chases, they manage to capture them and unmask their leader.
Well, well, if it isn't our old friend Bluestone the Great.
The criminals were using the legend of the Black Knight to keep people away from the castle, so they could search for the treasure undisturbed. Episode 4. Mind Your Own Business. Mystery Incorporated travels to Gold City, an old abandoned mining town. The gang arrives in response to a letter from Velma's old friend, Ben, who claims that the town is being haunted by the ghost of a miner named 49er. Upon arriving at Gold City, the gang meets Ben, who explains that the ghost of 49er has been scaring away everyone from the town, preventing them from reopening the gold mine. The gang decides to investigate and stay in the old Gold City Hotel, which is said to be the center of the ghostly activity. As they explore the area, they encounter eerie sights and sounds that lead them to believe that the ghost is real. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, in their usual fashion, are easily frightened by the spooky occurrences. The gang also meets a prospector named Old Man Smithers, who claims to have seen the ghost. Through their investigation, the gang discovers secret passageways and hidden tunnels beneath the hotel that the ghost has been using to create the appearances of haunting. They eventually uncover that Ben and Old Man Smithers are working together to scare everyone away from the gold mine because they want to keep the gold for themselves. After a chase and a series of humorous mishaps, the gang captures Ben and Smithers and exposes their scheme. The episode ends with the gang unmasking the fake ghost, highlighting once again that appearances can be deceiving.
Can only be one person. Hank!
Episode 15. Spooky Space Cook. In this, they find themselves at a desert airfield where they witness a UFO sighting. The gang is intrigued by the appearance of a strange flying saucer and the subsequent disappearance of several pilots who encountered it. The local airbase is in chaos due to the UFO sightings, and the gang decides to investigate. The gang discovers a pattern in the disappearances and concludes that the UFO sightings might be connected to the abandoned airfield's old owner, Old Man Jenkins. The gang decides to spend the night at the airfield to catch the UFO in action. As they wait, they hear strange sounds and see eerie lights, making them believe the UFO is real. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy accidentally stumble upon a hidden control room where they find a reel-to-reel tape recorder producing the eerie sounds. The gang realizes that the UFO sightings are a hoax designed to scare people away from the airfield, allowing the culprits to engage in smuggling activities from the nearby docks. The gang eventually unmasks the spooky space cook, revealing it to be Mr. Jenkins' former assistant, George, who was trying to profit from the smuggling operation by creating the UFO scare. The gang captures George and puts an end to the hoax. Episode 16. Go Away Ghost Ship. Mystery is on vacation near a coastal fishing village. They encounter a fisherman named Captain Cutler, who tells them about a ghostly pirate ship that appears during storms and causes trouble for the local fishermen. The gang decides to investigate and heads out to sea with Captain Cutler. While on their boat, the gang gets caught in a storm, and they encounter the ghost ship just as described. They see the ghostly crew and experience eerie occurrences. This prompts them to search the ghost ship, where they find a treasure chest with a clue leading to a nearby island. The gang follows the clue and ends up on an island with an old lighthouse. Inside the lighthouse, they discover hidden passages and secret rooms, revealing that the ghost pirates are actually smugglers using the legend of the ghost ship to their advantage. They've been using the lighthouse to signal ships and rob them. The gang confronts the smugglers and exposes their scheme. They capture the leader, Mr. Magnus, and his crew, putting an end to their criminal activities. Episode 17. A night of fright is no delight. The gang receives an invitation to the reading of the will of Colonel Beauregard Sanders, a wealthy and eccentric Southern gentleman. The will stipulates that the inheritors of Colonel Sanders' fortune must spend the night in his old spooky mansion in order to claim their inheritance. If any of them leave before morning, they forfeit their share. Mystery Incorporated arrives at the mansion and meets the other inheritors: a construction worker, a TV horror show host, a Southern belle, and a lawyer. As the night progresses, strange things start happening. The inheritors are frightened by various eerie occurrences, including secret passages, ghostly appearances, and creepy sounds. The gang investigates and discovers that the lawyer is trying to scare the other inheritors away so he can claim the entire fortune for himself. Using a variety of tricks and props, he creates the illusion of haunting to drive everyone out. The gang unravels the lawyer's scheme and captures him, revealing the truth behind the spooky occurrences. Now we're gonna look into the last season of the show, which consists of 13 episodes. Episode 1. Nowhere to Hide. The gang finds themselves in London, England. They have been invited to visit Velma's uncle, Dr. Jekyll, who is a scientist. However, when they arrive, they discover that Dr. Jekyll has gone missing and his lab is in disarray. They also learn that there have been sightings of a mysterious creature known as Mr. Hyde. The gang decides to investigate the disappearance and the reports of Mr. Hyde. They follow clues that lead them to believe that Mr. Hyde might be responsible for Dr. Jekyll's disappearance. As they delve deeper, they uncover a secret passage that leads to a hidden lab where they find a video message from Dr. Jekyll. In the video, Dr. Jekyll explains that he had been working on an experiment involving a serum to separate good and evil in humans. However, the experiment went wrong, and he accidentally transformed into Mr. Hyde. He fears that he will transform back into Hyde and cause harm, so he asks the gang for help. The gang searches for Dr. Jekyll to prevent further transformations. They eventually find him and confront the real Mr. Hyde, who turns out to be the lab's caretaker. The caretaker used the legend of Mr. Hyde to cover up his criminal activities. They capture the caretaker and save Dr. Jekyll from the effects of the serum. Episode 3. Scooty's Night with a Frozen Fright. The gang finds themselves at a ski resort in the Swiss Alps. They are there to visit their friend, Heidi, who owns the resort. However, when they arrive, they discover that the resort is being haunted by a snow ghost. The gang decides to investigate the haunting and soon realizes that the ghostly occurrences are tied to the legend of the snow ghost. They hear the story of a ghostly skier who disappeared in an avalanche years ago. As they explore, they encounter eerie sights and sounds that add to the spookiness. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, as always, find themselves in the middle of the ghostly antics, running from the snow ghost in comical ways. The gang investigates further and uncovers a hidden cavern where they find evidence of the ghost's activities. Through their investigation, they discover that the snow ghost is actually a criminal using a projector to create the illusion of haunting. The criminal is trying to find a stash of hidden jewels by scaring people away from the resort. The gang captures the criminal, exposes the hoax, and puts an end to the snow ghost's reign of terror.
Well, where you're going, you won't have to worry about meddling kids.
Episode 4. Jeepers, it's the Creeper. The gang finds themselves in a small rural town called Cobb Corner. They have been invited to attend the birthday party of a friend named Billy, who is the nephew of the town's police chief. However, when they arrive, they discover that the town is being haunted by a creature known as the Creeper. The gang decides to investigate the Creeper and the strange occurrences in the town. They meet Billy and learn about the legend of the Creeper, a creature that supposedly emerges at night and causes mischief. The gang also discovers a series of strange footprints that seem to belong to the Creeper. As they delve into the mystery, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy encounter the Creeper and run from it in their usual comical fashion. The gang investigates further and uncovers a series of clues that lead them to the town's abandoned theater. Inside, they find more evidence of the Creeper's activities. Through their investigation, they discover that the Creeper is actually a criminal wearing a mask and using stilts to create the illusion of height. The criminal is trying to scare people away from the town to search for a hidden treasure that is rumored to be buried there. The gang captures the criminal, exposes the hoax, and puts an end to the Creeper's reign of terror. Episode 5. Haunted House Hang-Up. The gang finds themselves in a small town called Moose Creek. They're visiting Shaggy's Uncle Beauregard, who is the caretaker of a haunted mansion known as the Old Krusty Place. The mansion is rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a sea captain named Old Iron Face. The gang decides to investigate the haunting and the strange occurrences in the mansion. They meet Uncle Beauregard, who tells them about the legend of Old Iron Face and the supposed treasure hidden in the mansion. The gang also meets the mansion's owner, Mrs. Cutler, who wants them to stay the night to prove that there are no ghosts. As they explore the mansion, the gang encounters various spooky sights and sounds. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, in their usual fashion, find themselves in humorous and frightening situations. The gang investigates further and uncovers secret passageways and hidden rooms in the mansion. Through their investigation, they discover that the haunting is being orchestrated by Mr. Cutler, the mansion owner's husband. Mr. Cutler is trying to scare people away from the mansion so he can search for the hidden treasure without interference. The gang captures Mr. Cutler, exposes the hoax, and puts an end to the haunted house legend. Episode 8. Don't fool with a phantom. The gang finds themselves in a spooky old mansion known as Vulture's Claw. They are there to meet Velma's uncle, Dr. Von Dinkenstein, who owns the mansion and the surrounding estate. The mansion is said to be haunted by the ghost of the Von Dinkenstein family's ancestor, the Grim Creeper. The gang decides to investigate the haunting and the strange occurrences in the mansion. They meet Dr. Von Dinkenstein, who tells them about the legend of the Grim Creeper and the history of the mansion. The gang also meets the mansion's caretaker, Squire Marley, who is suspicious and unfriendly. As they explore the mansion, the gang encounters eerie sights and sounds, as well as hidden passages and secret rooms. They also uncover a laboratory where Dr. Von Dinkenstein had been conducting scientific experiments. The gang is then targeted by the Grim Creeper and experiences various spooky events. Through their investigation, they discover that Squire Marley is behind the ghostly occurrences. Marley wanted to scare everyone away so he could search for a hidden treasure that was rumored to be in the mansion. The gang captures Squire Marley, exposes the hoax, and brings an end to the haunting at Vulture's Claw. Episode 10. Creepy Tangle in the Bermuda Triangle. Mystery Incorporated finds themselves embarking on a cruise ship vacation to the Bermuda Triangle. While on board, they encounter a series of bizarre occurrences, including mysterious disappearances, strange weather patterns, and unexplained phenomena. As the gang investigates, they meet Captain Ferguson, the ship's captain, who tells them about the legends and mysteries associated with the Bermuda Triangle. The crew and passengers are becoming increasingly frightened by the strange happenings, and everyone suspects that supernatural forces might be at play. Scooby-Doo and the gang decide to uncover the truth behind the mysteries. They search the ship, explore hidden passageways, and follow clues that lead them to a hidden laboratory where a scientist named Dr. Mysterio is conducting experiments involving weather control devices. Through their investigation, the gang discovers that Dr. Mysterio is using his technology to create the bizarre occurrences and frighten people away from the area. He hopes to exploit the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle to cover up his criminal activities, which involves smuggling stolen artwork. With clever detective work and teamwork, the gang exposes Dr. Mysterio's scheme, captures him, and returns the stolen artwork.
Fish with one hook.
Over here, Fred.
The Bermuda Triangle's mysteries are revealed to be the result of human manipulation rather than supernatural forces. Episode 12. Stew to Switch a Witch. The gang finds themselves in Salem, Massachusetts, during a trip. They stumble upon a town that is holding a reenactment of the Salem witch trials. The gang decides to take part in the reenactment, with Daphne playing the accused witch, Velma as the judge, Fred as the sheriff, and Shaggy and Scooby as spectators. However, during the reenactment, real eerie occurrences begin to happen. A ghostly figure resembling a witch appears and causes disruptions. As they investigate further, they discover that someone has been using the legend of the witch trials to their advantage. The gang uncovers a plot by the mayor, who is using the witch legend to distract people while he searches for hidden treasure. He dressed up as the witch to create fear and confusion. Through their investigation, the gang exposes the mayor's scheme and captures him, bringing an end to the ghostly occurrences. Episode 13. The Tar Monster. The gang is visiting a seaside resort town named San Francisco. The town is famous for its tar pits, which have attracted tourists and archaeologists alike. However, the town is being plagued by the appearance of a mysterious tar monster that emerges from the tar pits. The gang decides to investigate the tar monster and the strange occurrences. They meet the town's mayor and learn about the legend of a curse placed on the town by the local Native American tribe. The curse is said to be connected to a sacred amulet that is missing. As the gang delves into the mystery, they uncover clues and hidden passageways in the tar pits area. The tar monster continues to appear and cause chaos, leading to a series of chases and humorous encounters involving Scooby and Shaggy. Through their investigation, the gang discovers that the tar monster is actually a disguise used by an archaeologist named Professor Wayne. He was using the legend and the disguise to keep people away from the tar pits, so he could search for the missing amulet and claim it for himself. The gang captures Professor Wayne, exposes his scheme, and brings an end to the tar monster legend. Thanks for watching, and if you want to watch remaining parts of the Scooby-Doo, let us know in the comments section.